Okay, so good day everyone. So today we're going to discuss about decoders, okay, or decoder. So what we're going to have today is you have a 3 by 8 decoder. That means you have 3 inputs and you have 8 outputs, okay? So usually when it comes to decoder, okay, our inputs are usually binary, and then we decode that one, and the output of which is in the decimal value. Okay, when we say encoder, that means that our, say for example, diba, we had already, or I already gave you an encoder which is a 8 by 3 encoder. So that means that there are 8 inputs, okay, and there are 3 outputs. That is an encoder. So usually encoder, that means that the input values are decimal and then the output values are binaries. For the decoders, it's different, okay? So the input values are binary and the output values are decimal, okay? So of course we have also 8 outputs actually, okay? You have 8 outputs here, including your 0 here, okay? So next, we're going to solve now for the equation. The good thing about this one is that you have only a single one in your outputs, in each output, because as I've said, the value or the input, the output value, or the input values are binary and the output values are in terms of decimal. So here you have 0 0 here, okay? If you're going to convert that one into decimal, that will be equivalent to 0. Okay, you have 0 0 1 here, so that means this value is equivalent to 1, this value is equivalent to 2, this value is equivalent to 3, this value is equivalent to 4, this one is equivalent to 5, this one is equivalent to 6, and this one is equivalent to 7. Okay, so these are binary and these are all decimal outputs. Okay, and also if you notice, the ones in your outputs are only single. So when it comes to equation, you will not be having a hard time dealing with equation for this one. Okay, so because there is only single one in your output. Okay, so for 1, okay, for 1, the equation is just simply, okay, take note that what we're going to consider here is the ones, no? Katulang naka 1. So if you're going to consider this one, okay, so this one is x, y, and z. So the x are having the value that is equivalent to 0. Okay, so naa siya 0 value. Now if you're going to convert this one into k-map, okay, so ingani lang ni siya. Let me try to add. So kung i-k-map din mo na siya, pila, okay, 8, okay, and that will be converted into k-map. This is your x, y, okay, and then you have z. Okay, so you have 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1, okay, and this one is you have 0 and 1. So wala na yun eh. Okay, we're going to remove this one. Okay, and then center. Now in this case, okay, if you're going to notice here, so much better, no, kasi single ano lang man siya, single ones, no, sa imuhang output, isa lang na ones imong output. So kani siya, dali lang kani siyang equation. Okay, as I've said, when you're going to solve for the k-map, what you're going to consider are the ones that is only 1. So for 1, sorry, this is for 0. Okay, for 0 output. For 0 output, the only ones is kanilang kating x, y, and z ka 0. So kanilang siya ang naka 1. The rest are 0, di ba? The rest are 0. So since we're just going to consider the 1, obviously automatic ng equation niya will be x bar, okay, y bar, and z bar. Okay, Kasi isa lang man yung 1 na mo siya ka-partner. So, there's no need for you to simplify. Kasi isa lang ang iyahang 1. So, the same thing for 1. Dito na. Kasi isa lang man yung 1. So, what is now the equation for 1? So, you have x. This is 0. Y is 0. And then, z is 1. So, therefore, that will become, you have x bar, y bar, and you have z. Okay? Then, for 2. Okay, so for 2, saan ang 2? Okay, this one, this 2. Okay, mali ang 2. So, ang 2 is kani. So, you have x bar, y, and z bar. Okay? So, you have x bar, y, and z bar. Okay? Actually, there's no need for you to look at the table if you are familiar with this one. Kasi, take note that these binary inputs, no, we're just converting the values here into what? Into decimal. Okay? So, again, this is 2 kasi if you're going to notice, no, ang x is naka-bar siya, that means 0. Y is 1 kasi wala siya yung bar. And then z is 0. So, this means this is 2. Now, for 3, simple lang, for 3, nga output, so, the equation will be, so, 3 man siya. So, x bar kasi 0. And then, y is 1. Z is 1. Okay, so, 1 plus 1 is equivalent, 2 plus 1 is equivalent to 3. Now, for 4, okay, for 4. Okay, so, for 4, we have, okay, 4 man siya. So, x, that should be 1. And then, y bar. Okay, and then you have z bar. Okay, that's for 4. And for 5, okay, so you have x. Okay, dapat naka 1. Y should be bar. And then z is naka 1 kasi 5 siya. Then for 6, you have x should be 1. Y should be 1. Okay, and then z should be bar. Kasi ang 1, 1, 0, that is equivalent to 6. And for 7, obviously, your equation will be all 1s, x, y, and z. Okay, so these are now the equations. Okay, from 0 up to what? 7. So, if we're going to convert this one into schematic, okay, so we're just going to draw here. Again, let me okay, first output 1. Okay, output 0, that is equivalent to what? X, y, z bar. Okay, for 1, ang output niya is you have x, y bar, z, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so ako lang i-repeat ang equation. Okay, so for 2, so you have x bar, y, z bar. For 3, you have x bar, y, z. For 4, you have x, y bar, z bar. Okay, that's 4. And then 5, you have x, y bar, z. For 6, you have x, y, z bar. And for 7, you have x, y, z. Okay, so these are now the equations. So, take note, you have 3 inputs, x, y, and z. And then you have now what we call the outputs. Okay, that is 0 to 7. So, therefore, if we're going to convert that one into equation, so this will now be the, schematic rather, or the circuit. Okay, so this will now be the circuit. You have here x, you have y, and then you have z. Now, take note, if you're going to observe, all the variables x, y, and z are all inverted. So, automatically, we're just going to invert this one kasi naka-invert sila tanan. Okay, naka-invert. Okay. Okay, inverted. So, for output 0, meaning all these are being ANDed. So, dito ta mag-start sa taas. Okay. We're just going to use to input AND gate. Okay, to input AND gate para you will not be confused. Actually, there are 3 inputs na napoy 3 input ng AND gate. But in this case, we're just going to use what? For input and gate. Okay, by the way, let me just try to erase this one. Usually, when it comes to inputs are represented by what? A button. Okay, so you can use logic state. What I have used, in my previous discussion, I have used a logic state, but here we're just going to use what? This is a button. Okay, now everything, this is a tack switch. Okay, tack switch ang tawag ana. Diba po itong dip switch. So this is connected into the ground. So muna ko imong X, muna imong Y, muna imong Z. Okay, so muna siya ang button. Now that is being inverted, and then the inversion of which kining X, Y, Z bar. Okay, this will not be the output. Now the output is usually represented by LED. So the symbol for LED is this one. Ito ang symbol ng LED. Okay, and everything is connected to the ground. So later we're going to connect that one to the ground. So this is your output 0. Okay, output 0 na siya. So meaning if we are not going to press anything, dapat musiga si LED 0. Okay, now the second one, okay, take note that the one is X and Y inverted. X bar and then Y bar then Z. Now take note here, you have this one is already what? X and Y bar. This one is, you have X, Y, Z bar. Okay? Now, in order for you to reduce your circuitry, di na ka mag-AND pa diri. So, di na ka, magwala kag output. So, you just stop here because this one is the output of what? Output of X bar and Y bar. And asa siya ANDed to the C. Ito. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to tap. Okay, tap. And then we're going to AND it here. So this will now be your next output. This will be output 1. Okay, the equation is you have X, Y bar, and then C. We just stop here, X bar and Y bar. Okay, that's how you're going to make a circuit. Okay, that is also how you're going to do it in actual implementation. Now, our output to X bar, okay, X bar Y. Okay, X bar Y. So, therefore, X is being barred under to your Y. So, here. So, what we're going to do, okay, we're going to tap here. Okay. Okay. And this will be X and then tap here. Okay, this will be ANDed. So this will be X bar Y. Okay, and then ANDed to Z bar. So here, so this is Z bar. Okay, i-AND natin na siya. Okay, the output of which this will now be the output what? 2. So output 2 is, okay, nasan na siya? So output 2 now is this one. Okay, so you have X bar Y Z bar. Okay, that's output 2. Now output 3, again, take note that X bar and Y, it is common. So we're just going to tap from here. Okay, and then we're going to AND the value to your Z bar. So we're going to tap here. This is now your Z bar. Okay, so this is now your Z bar. Then we are going to tap here. So we have now the what? Third output. This will be output 3. So this will be X bar Y Z bar. Okay, next we have output 4. So output 4 will be X, Y bar. So X, okay, from here, we're going to pass here. Okay, this will be X to be ANDed to what? Y bar. So Y bar is here. Okay, Y bar is here. Okay, ANDed na siya. So this will be what? X and Y bar. And the output is being ANDed to Z bar. So we're just going, okay, you can tap here. This is your Z bar if you noticed, okay? This is your Z bar. Okay. And then ANDed. This will now be your what? Fourth output. So this will be X, Y bar, and Z bar. Okay? So, man na siya. Now, for our fifth output, again, take note that common ang X and Y bar. So, therefore, we're just going to tap here. X and Y bar. Then, we're going to AND that one with Z. So, ito. Z ito siya. So, we're just going to tap here para mas dali na lang. Okay? Mas duol siya. So, this will be what? X, Y bar, and then Z. Tama? Okay. X, Y bar, and then Z. So, this is now your what? Fifth output. Now, for the sixth output, so X and Y are being ANDed. So, here, this is now your X. Your Y rather. And this is now your X. Okay? So, we're going to AND this one. So, this will be X and Y to be ANDed with Z bar. So, this is your Z bar here. Okay? So, we're just going to tap your Z bar. Okay? And then, we're going to AND here. So, this one, this will be your X, Y, Z bar. This will be your what? Okay? Your sixth output. For your seventh output, again, common X, Y, Z, X, Y. Okay? X, Y. So, we're going to tap here. And then, take note that is Z. So, we're going to tap here. Ito na lang, Z. Okay? So, ito. This will now be our what? Seventh output. So, this will be X, Y, Z. Okay? And everything will be connected to the ground. Okay? Connect na siya sa ground. So, this will now be the schematic of the decoder. So, take note, you have three inputs, X, Y, Z. And inputs now are represented by button. So this logic state here, or logic gates here, or logic symbols here, represents your process, and the LEDs here represents your output. So if you're going to put a schematic or a conceptual framework, okay, conceptual framework. So conceptual framework, it has an input, okay. This box here, it is an input, then going to your process, okay, and then going to your what? Output. Okay, so output, so input, what are the inputs here? So the inputs are not X, Y, Z, that is not the input, that is a variable. But what are the inputs here are the, what we call this one as buttons, okay, or usually buttons or sensors, okay? Sensors because the inputs are the triggering factor, siya ang trigger. If you're going to press the buttons here, what is going to happen, it will produce an output. Okay, mag-produce siya output diri kung imong i-trigger ang imong input diri. So if you're not going to touch the output here, it will not also do anything here in the output, no? Except lang for 0, kasi ang 0 musiga mong siya even if wala ka gi-press, kasi 0 nga ang value niya. Now the process here are the gates, okay, kani, okay, the circuitry muna yung process now, or logic gates, and then the output here are the LEDs, kaning mga sugang output. So meaning if you're going to press the button, you can see that the LEDs are turning on or off, no? Kasi that is now your output. Okay, so that is how you're going to do the equation for a decoder, a 3 by 8 decoder. So take note that in a decoder, our inputs are binary and our outputs are decimal. So take note in our encoder, as I have example last time, that you have an 8 by 3 decoder, so meaning our inputs there are decimal and then our outputs are binary. Okay, so this is the equivalent equation. Okay, and this is now the equivalent schematic or the circuitry. So this is also the one that we're going to do in ProChoose. Okay, mapunit mong buhaton sa ProChoose. Okay, so that is how you're going to make a schematic diagram for the what we call the decoder. Okay, so later on I'm going to give you the ProChoose of this or the schematic of the decoder using the ProChoose, so that we can also see the output of this tawag ani schematic. So this is dili lang drawing, but we're going to make use of the ProChoose as a simulator to know if our equation is really correct, based on the given truth table. Okay, so again, if you have questions and clarifications, you can ask me questions and clarifications through our LMS or through our collaborations. Okay, thank you and God bless everyone. I'm going to give you the simulation of this decoder later on. Okay, thank you everyone. God bless.